thank you for inviting me and giving this opportunity. The title of this book is "Status of Quality School Education Among Muslims in India," and I will quickly uh, give an introduction about the book, different chapters and major findings, maybe in next half an hour. And basically, the background of uh, this book is again coming from the same Structure Committee report, which has been in debate for more than one decade, almost 1.5 decade. So, but in this book, in this yearbook, the focus is on minority concentrated areas. We already know that minority concentrated areas have been identified by the government based on the two parameters. One is backwardness and another is the population of those districts. And in terms of backwardness, socioeconomic indicators and indicators related to basic amenities have been identified to, to analyze the status of different districts. There are 90 minority concentrated districts, 17 minority concentrated blocks, and 66 minority concentrated towns on the basis of both of these criteria. And the MSDP, multi-sectoral development program, which was for the area development of minority concentrated districts, it focused on 90 minority concentrated districts during 11th plan, but from 2013 and 14 to 2017-18, the focus shifted from MCDs, minority concentrated districts, to minority concentrated blocks and towns. So this is another development towards the end of the 11th plan and from 2013 and 14. But this study will focus on districts only. The objective of this identification of MCDs, I will call MCDs, these minority concentrated districts. In short, the focus is to improve socioeconomic condition of these districts, and so this book revolves around this question. But the focus is on school education, the access to elementary education. If we see the existing data, the gross enrollment ratio has reached close to universal level. It is 99 or 100 among every religious group, including Muslims. But the disparity exists in terms of quality of education. Lower learning outcome is observed among Muslims and also among other underprivileged groups. So there is a need of study to understand the reasons for disparity in quality of education. This study focuses on supply side factors, access to basic amenities, schools, and different kinds of services available in schools, because availability of these schools may be an important indicator to measure the quality of school education. Better availability of these facilities and services may ensure better quality of education. If we see the distribution of these 90 districts, we find that the major states are five, namely Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Assam. These five states comprise 57 districts, and this is state-wise distribution of these 90 MCTs. Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, in fact, all states covering from all the four regions of the country. But these are largely dominated by these five states: Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Assam. And all these states are backward states in terms of overall socioeconomic indicators also, including Muslims. So coming to this study, the objective of this study is to analyze attainment at different level of school education among Muslims, to analyze dropout in school education among Muslim minority, assess disparity in quality of school education by socio-religious group, study the availability of schools in minority concentrated districts, to examine the availability of infrastructure and human resources in school in minority concentrated districts, analyze the access to school education by medium of instruction, which I have done in the next part of this book, and to study the status of madrasa and schools with Urdu medium of instruction in minority concentrated districts and overall. This study is based on two data source. One is from National Sample Survey for year 2017-18, which is latest data from NSS on education, and DICE data, District Information Statistics on of Education for 2021-22. And the variables are enrollment rate, dropout rate, availability of schools and infrastructure in school, and different kind of facilities. It covers both government schools and private unaided institutions. Analysis of madrasa is based on DICE data. Percentage share of schools with different facilities is used as an indicator to compare the facilities across different regions. And states with concentration of MCDs is compared with other states, and then district level comparison is also done in this study. The study is based on 10 chapters, introduction. Then, in fact, broadly, we can divide the study into three parts. Chapter 2 is about public policy with regard to Muslims in school education. And then next three chapters, chapter 4, chapter 5, and 6, these are based on NSS data, and it is about status of Muslims in school education, covering access and dropout, and upward mobility in school education. Then next four chapters, 6, 7, 8, and 9, are based on DICE data 2021-22, and it covers availability of schools, availability of different facilities, and then infrastructure and status of madrasa and Urdu medium school. And these four chapters, the analysis is undertaken at three levels: across state, all India, across state, at district level, in MCDs, minority concentrated districts. And for state-wise comparison, uh, the states with higher concentration of MCDs are compared with overall performance of the state to understand how the concentration of MCDs affect the performance of different states. And finally, last chapter, chapter 10, is conclusion, policy suggestion. So I'm coming to the first part of the analysis. I will quickly share major findings from the different sections of the study. If we analyze the policies with regard to school education or education overall among Muslim minority, generally Sachar committee report is used as a reference point. But the Sachar committee is uh, is a kind of evolution from of the different programs and interventions by government started in uh, early 1980s. For example, the 15-point program, its genesis goes back to 1983, when it was adopted for educational, economic, and social upliftment of minorities in India. Then, during the same time period, Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram was also adopted for the development of minority concentrated areas. Plan of Action 1992 on education, it focused on the development of minorities, and in fact, it divided the targeted time period uh, in terms of short term, medium term, and long term. Area intensive madrasa modernization program was also into existence earlier than Sachar committee report. And central madrasa bill, though it is not passed yet, but it is before Sachar committee report. Then comes Sachar committee report. It talks about the socioeconomic condition of Muslims, and if we see the major findings with regard to education, it shows that Muslims are lagging behind other religious minorities um, in terms of literacy, mean years of schooling, then in terms of dropout also, number of graduates and diploma holders. Mm, Further, the concentration of primary school is lower in Muslim concentrated districts. Hostel facilities is also lower in Muslim areas, and access of Muslim government school is also limited for Muslim children. Talked about the structure of book, data source, methodology, and background. The major finding which is coming from this analysis is that um, at elementary level, enrollment is close to universal level among Muslims and other religious groups, but but Muslims are lagging behind other religious groups and privileged caste groups in secondary and higher secondary level. Then dropout is highest among them, in fact higher than SCs also. Low chance of upward mobility in the ladder of education. Uh, Improvement and income and occupational background doesn't bridge the gap across religious groups. Uh, Means Muslims with a similar economic condition and occupational background are lagging behind non-Muslims and behind OBCs and high caste Hindus also. Then lower availability of schools in minority concentrated districts. A number of classrooms available in schools in minority concentrated districts is also lower. Availability of school management committee, and again MCDs are lagging far behind other uh, regions. If we see the connectivity of schools with other part of in connectivity through roads, again the access to road is lower. Means lower number of schools have connectivity with main road in MCDs. So far availability of teacher is concerned, uh, still government schools have more than 50% of total teacher available in school education. Means out of total teacher, government schools contribute more than 50% across different levels of school education from 1 to 12. But as we move up in the ladder of education, we find that the share of government schools in total teacher goes on reducing, and the share of private unaided schools goes on increasing, which tells that at higher level of education, uh, uh, private unaided schools are doing better in terms of availability of teachers than government schools. Districts from UP and Bihar, they are consistently underperforming in terms of availability of different kinds of educational facilities like drinking water, different kinds of facilities in schools like drinking water, electricity, then separate toilet for girls, separate room for headmasters, um, computer, internet, all this. In terms of all kinds of facilities, there are 9 such facilities which are covered in this book. Bihar and UP are worst performing states in among all these states, including states which comprise of MCDs. And none of the MCDs, if we uh, divide the different districts into in terms of performance, we see that none of the MCDs come to the top performing group of the districts. Means all the MCDs are among worst performing districts. But the major area of concern with regard to facilities is separate room for headmaster. Means there are schools, headmasters are also there, but they don't have separate office. Availability of computer and internet is very low in schools in MCDs. Library, more than 90% schools have library facilities, but only 10% of schools have librarian. Trained teacher, half of the total teacher available in schools are not trained, they don't have B.Ed degree. And the interesting finding from the analysis is that the performance of different districts changes in terms of the based on the characteristics of the region. So in while talking about policy, we should consider the characteristics of the region while intervention of any kind of doing any kind of intervention. For example, geographically difficult areas, if we see PTR, people teacher ratio, PTR is low in geographically difficult areas like Jammu and Kashmir and districts from the north eastern states. So so these numbers should be analyzed based on the context of these districts. Uh, and finally, the last chapter, which is on madrasa education and education through Urdu medium of instruction. It shows that the madrasa and Urdu medium of instruction, it means schooling via Urdu medium, these are largely concentrated in MCDs. They comprise major chunk of means the MCDs comprise the high share of the of these type of schools. And further, among MCDs, the concentration of madrasa is, in fact, more than 70% in 5 districts. These are major findings from this study. Thank you.